Atta girl. Yes. Okay.
That's what you look at. It's 9:01 an hour. 8:57.
I'm going by Apple time. Can't go wrong with Apple time, can you?
Is that Michael?
It's on. They just tested it. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Burnett County Judge Brian Wilson. I can now call our Burnett County Commissioners Court meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, January 9th, 2026. The time is now 9:00 a.m. We are meeting at 220 South Pierce Street at the historic Burnett County Courtroom. And I will now call agenda item number 2, invocation and pledges. I'll ask Commissioner Dockery to introduce his guests and then lead us in the invocation and the pledges.
I'd like to introduce Pastor John Weems from Lake Shores Church. Lead us in prayer this morning.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this amazing place we live. We thank you for these men and women who lead us and guide us. We pray your blessings on them. Lord, we pray for our county that we may be poor in spirit, that we may be blessed in our mourning, comforted, blessed in our meekness as we inherit the earth, blessed as we hunger and thirst for righteousness as you will fill us. Bless us in our mercy so we can show mercy. Blessed God, help us to have pure hearts. Lord, bless us and help us to be peacemakers and help us to always stand up for righteousness. We love you, God. We celebrate you. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this amazing place, God. We know that you are in control. We know that this world can get wild, but we know that you are always, your plan is always perfect. God, we pray for those who are in the counties around us who have suffered through the floods of the last few weeks. Lord, we know that brings memories to us, but also brings us sympathy and empathy. So help us serve them, love them, and always follow you. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Pastor Weems. Appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner Dockery. Okay, I call agenda item number 3, public comments pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.007 and the Burnett County Commissioners Court Rules of Decorum. Any person may make a comment on any item not appearing on the agenda. Any comments made will not be deliberated on by the Commissioners Court during this public comment agenda item. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Public comments for items listed on the agenda will be heard when the agenda item is called. Is there any public comment today?
Betty Trapp, Burnett.
Pull that down just a little bit. Thank you.
Betty Trapp, Burnett County resident, taxpayer. I have lived on County Road 332 for over 44 years. During that time, my road was oiled and gravelled one time, and that was in 2010. It had gotten so bad that you had to pull over off of the pavement to meet a car. I would go to Precinct 4, and I could not understand why their roads were paved and their roads striped. To me, it seemed like a waste of money to spend on the expense of striping a road when my road had no pavement. I want to thank Commissioner Collier because my road is now where I can pass a car on my road without having to pull off. Commissioner Collier, please tell your crew how much I appreciate what they have done to my road.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other comment for items not on the agenda? Thank you, Ms. Trapp. Okay. I call agenda item number 4, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to proclaim June 2026 to be the Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Supervisor Elizabeth Hernandez, is she here? All right.
Somebody was earlier.
All right.
Somebody's here.
Oh, it's you too. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to say before I open this up or?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and read the resolution. Thank you for bringing this to the court. Burnett County Elder Abuse Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas older adults contribute to the well-being of this county by working, caregiving, volunteering, and actively preserving customs, rituals, and traditions. And whereas as we age, we build momentum by accumulating knowledge, experience, insight, and wisdom that can be shared to enrich our community. And whereas abuse of older adults in a community is a community concern affecting thousands of people across Texas. Whereas there were 125,382 reports of abuse of older adults and people with disabilities in Texas in 2025. And whereas abuse against older adults is grossly underreported because of social stigma, embarrassment, and fear. And whereas adult abuse affects men, women of all income and ability levels, all cultural and ethnic backgrounds, in all communities. And whereas elder abuse is everyone's business, it's important to strengthen our efforts to prevent, report, and address elderly abuse. Now, therefore, we as the Burnett County Commissioners Court, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2026 to be Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Burnett County, Texas, to urge all residents to work together to reduce abuse and neglect of older adults and people with disabilities. Adopted this the 9th day of June 2026. Brian Wilson, Burnett County Judge, Jim Luther, Commissioner Precinct 1, Damon Byerly, Precinct Commissioner 2, Chad Collier, Precinct Commissioner 3, and Joe Don Dockery, Commissioner Precinct 4. Do I hear a motion?
Move for adoption.
Okay. All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Dockery, seconded by Commissioner Byerly. Is there any further discussion? Any public comment on this issue? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. You want to come up here and get a picture with us? Thank you for coming. Sure, sure.
Thanks for having us. Thank you, sir. And I'm Yolanda Griffith, investigator with Adult Protective Services, and this is Edith Rojas, so we work for
Edith,
Burnett
thank you.
Land
All
County.
right, let's squeeze up a little here. All right, here. Got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, good. Nice to meet you.
Okay, I call agenda item number 5, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding presentation from Mike Maples, CEO of the Bluebonnet Trails Community Service, concerning legislative update and grant funding opportunities.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Roxanne Nelson. I'm Justice of the Peace Precinct 1. I'm here to introduce Mike Maples, the CEO of Bluebonnet Trails, and he's going to give you an update about some of the things that's happening within Bluebonnet Trails and specifically within Burnett County.
Miss, before you go, would you go ahead and state your position with Bluebonnet Trails? So I just want to get it on record that we appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of this county outside of your regular job duties.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love serving on the board of Bluebonnet Trails and have now since 2018. And I serve as the chairperson for Bluebonnet currently. And I think it's important that I appreciate the pastor's prayer this morning because he's pointing to the fact that we need to help the vulnerable in our community. And that's what the folks at Bluebonnet Trails try to do every day of the week, not just Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but it's a full-time 24/7 job. So I'm going to let Mike tell you a little bit about what they're doing.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Good morning. Appreciate you all letting me come and visit with you all today. I'm going to, I think you all have in your packet or in your binder there, some of the slides that I prepared. I'm not going to read you all my slides, but some of it I wanted to give a little bit of opportunity for some background of Bluebonnet Trails, community services. I do have Tiffany Grodetto on my opening slide. She's not here today. She is back home working on two of the grants that I'm going to brief you all on today. Both those grants are due today and tomorrow, and they're very large grants. So I let her stay back home to make sure those are completed and turned in. But just a little bit about Bluebonnet Trails. We're the local mental health authority for Burnett County and the 7 other counties that circle Travis County. Our vision is healthy and fulfilled lives, and we really embrace that every day, that's our purpose. And as Judge Nelson mentioned, for the vulnerable, we continuously improve the health and independence of the folks we serve so that they can be in our communities and productive and as independent as possible. And you can kind of see on the next slide, on slide 3, kind of our locations. Our clinic here in Burnett County is in Marble Falls, and we have clinics throughout the area that are there for persons to be served, but the majority of our services that we provide are out in the community itself. Our staff are out going into the communities, going into persons' homes, helping provide services where they are and where they live to help with that independence. In just a bit, Bluebonnet Trails is a local government entity. The state designates us as the local mental health authority. We have a local government status. We are funded by the state of Texas. Also we get federal dollars. We also bill insurance when possible. But your ability to pay is not one of our criteria. If you don't have funds at all, the state makes sure that we have the resources to do that. We also look for local contributions when possible. And certainly something I'd love to visit with you all more around about budget time, about local contributions to that. And we also, as I just mentioned, pursue a number of grants that are really focused on making sure that we can continue to develop our services. On slide 5, just kind of gives you a sense of what services we provide. We serve adults and kids. And you can kind of see the continuum, starting with crisis services. We have a hotline. We have our mobile capacity to go out into the community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometimes side by side with your sheriff's office and police departments when needed to make sure that we're able to provide services safely, but also make sure we can address whatever needs there are, all the way up through outpatient traditional services so people can come in and see their doctor when they need to, case managers, other staff that are needed to help take care of the needs that they have. If you need more intensive services, we have the capability of providing that as well. We don't have residential options currently in Burnett County, but we do in Williamson County and often serve folks in Burnett County in our residential locations in Williamson County. If folks need to go to the hospital, we have the capability of being able to provide for that for individuals. We are fortunate enough in our service area to have access to 2 psychiatric hospitals in Williamson County and often use them when needed. In the last resort, we have state hospitalization options for kiddos. As you all have probably heard, there's quite a long waiting list to get there. So we try to solve the needs of the community locally and provide those services immediately. But if they do need access to the state hospital, we can help facilitate that. And likewise, you can see in slide 6 for the adults, very similar service options that we have, kind of continuing that continuum of care that are needed. Additionally, for those services for adults, we can help with folks who need housing or employment as well as they start to recover from their mental illness. We want them to be able to be as independent as possible. So helping them get into housing or getting jobs to help participate in that, getting access to benefits is also a part of what we do to help make sure that their needs are met. Also, we have for the adults a diversion center that is designed specifically to help divert people that may become in contact with law enforcement and being able to divert them out of the jails, or instead of going to jail, going to treatment. We have a diversion center in Williamson County that is able to be used by law enforcement, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's really meant to help folks stay close, quickly be able to be stabilized and return back to the community, and also relieving law enforcement from having to either serve them in the jail or drive around county to county looking for a bed. The diversion center promises a less than 15-minute handoff from law enforcement to get them back on the streets and back into the county, providing their public safety mission. And just a little bit on slide 7 about the needs of what we've determined and assessed in Burnett County specifically. We do a lot of needs assessments and surveys and looking for what is actually some of the statistics here in Burnett County. And you can kind of see some of them that are raised to the level of concern that we've really been trying to address. Households experiencing severe housing problems, 30%. That's a change from about 20% in 2015 to 2019. So that continues to be a concern here in Burnett County. Student homelessness has increased from 1.6 in 2024 and 25 to around 2.2% in the 25-26 year span. Drug overdoses have increased from 20 per 100,000, which is up from 16 per 100,000 in 2020 through 2022. And sadly, one of the bigger concerns is the rates of suicide. Death by suicide reached 24 per 100,000, which is well above the state average of 14 per 100,000. So obviously some needs here that the local mental health authorities really trying to target and expand our services to help bring those statistics down. And just a little bit on slide 8 and 9, you can see how many people are in service of Bluebonnet from Burnett County. The adult population, we serve about, currently this year, we've served about 322 people, kiddos, about 67, and stayed pretty consistent with that. Crisis services, we've been able to respond and serve 17 calls for help this year, or this month. You can see over the months this year, that averages around 20 persons a month. For kiddos, 16 persons were served that were in need of crisis services this month, or in the month of April, and that stays pretty consistent throughout the year. Intellectual disabilities and substance abuse is another service we provide. This last month, about 55 kiddos and adults in that area. One of the major, if we start looking into the future, what are some of the things we want to look at and expand? And you can kind of see a little bit more there about the diversion center. That is, many communities have embraced that model as an alternative, as we've talked about, from going into more intensive levels of care. And we're really looking at ways to expand that into rural communities like Burnett. But you can see it's about a 54-minute drive from where we are today to the diversion center, which law enforcement has used this year about 50 times for individuals and been able to get them immediate access to care when needed in that crisis situation. I also want to mention, as you can see on the slide 12, that we've also engaged in a sequential intercept mapping here in Burnett County. I'm going to let Judge Nelson talk a little bit about that, and also Judge Wilson, who was help with that, getting that brought to the community. I'm going to let Judge Nelson talk a little bit about what the SIM is and what came out of this. We had it about this day-long event about a month ago here in Burnett County. Great turnout, but Judge, would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Thank you, Judge Wilson, for getting behind that and helping us get the word out about that. We had over 80 participants in that workshop, and that was the in-person workshop. We had other events leading up to it that were joined by many people. We came away with 4 priorities. One is to develop a leadership team that helps to keep track of the needs in Burnett County and see what we need to do to address those needs. That leadership team met 2 weeks after the SIM to make sure that we hit the ground running, and we have another meeting already scheduled for the 24th of this month to keep that momentum going. The statistics pointed out that we have a homelessness problem here in Burnett County, and that was one of the priorities that came out of the SIM, is that we need to address homelessness. Also, the diversion center was a top priority. I don't know that we're going to get to having a diversion center anytime soon, but maybe we could address it through something like a respite facility. Maybe some of this rural money that's coming from the federal government will help us develop maybe a 4 to 6 bed respite facility that we could use for Burnett County residents. And also transportation was an issue, but we all know transportation is an issue in Burnett County. So we want to focus on all of these 4 priorities over the next coming years. And we want to work hand in hand with Bluebonnet Trails, of course, in achieving our goals. And I think that we're primed and we have the momentum right now to try to accomplish some of those goals.
So you can kind of see on slide 12 where the mapping kind of looks at every intersection through the criminal justice process is where we can divert people or intercept. So it's quite a lofty set of goals. Many communities have gone through this SIM mapping. This has been sponsored by the Judicial Commission on Mental Health, which is sponsored by the Texas Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals. So they were really involved with this as well and very interested in a rural model for the SIM intercept process. And many conversations beyond those recommendations occurred and connections occurred. Beyond that, we're very helpful that we have names and faces to be able to talk when needs arise. People know who to call and how to execute an intercept when most appropriate, so that folks don't linger in jail that really need to be there, or take up resources in the criminal justice system where they really need to be focused on, diverting crime or intercepting with crime, and not spending their time for persons that could be diverted into more appropriate systems of care like Bluebonnet and some other settings. So very big step forward. A report will be released that has many of those details that we'll be glad to share with everyone here. But again, thank you, Judge Wilson, Judge Nelson, Judge Tenney, members of the Sheriff's Office, and the rest of the community who were there to participate actively for a full day. Moving on to slide 14, some of the legislative activities that we've had. And thank you, Judge Wilson, for helping pen a letter to Senator Flores and Representative Troxclair about the needs in this county and the support of Bluebonnet Trails and being able to expand our services and our capacity. The next legislative session, as you all know, starts in January. We spend a lot of time down at the Capitol talking about these needs and these services that we have here in Burnett County. We've been able to brief those staff as well to make sure that when they go into the next session, they're well armed with the needs of Burnett County when they're making their deliberations about the budget. Also been Sunset Commission. The Sunset, every state agency sunsets every 10 years. This year, the Health and Human Service Commission is up for that. So a lot of activity with the Sunset Commission, which is the entity charged with developing recommendations for legislators about what should happen when they continue that state agency that oversees mental health. They've been very interested in what Bluebonnet does and has come to visit with me several times and our staff to talk about rural mental health care. And so that attention has been very much appreciated. I've got a list of recommendations on my desk now to send forward that they followed up on to ask specifically how can they help make sure that rural communities are addressed in the Sunset Bill. So very encouraging with that. Governor's office also invited me to participate in Bluebonnet in a roundtable discussion with Secretary Kennedy when he came to Texas to talk about rural health care. I want to talk about the grants and the funding, about $250 billion coming out of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that came from the federal government, about dollars coming specifically to enhance rural health access. As I said, Tiffany Godetto is back home right now finalizing 2 large grants that will focus on educating a workforce and being able to create capacity to expand you can't expand if you don't have a workforce that's able to be trained and competent to be able to delivering services. Part of that model has us building a training center that will be able to serve all of the folks in the rural communities. Whether you're on site, the facility is going to be in Lockhart, Texas, but it's going to have the capability to provide services out of our clinic here by televideo access to that. We've got partnerships with the University of Texas and Texas A&M University for persons that participate from high school up through college to be able to get dual credit through the universities for services in learning about becoming a behavioral health, a part of the behavioral health workforce. That helps us expand services. So a big effort there in there. We're also looking at mobile van access so that we can take services out into the rural communities through our mobile capabilities. Instead of having to build more clinics, we take a clinic on wheels out to communities where they can access through televideo their doctors, their case managers in the rural areas of the state. That will also be a big boost for this community if we get that grant. Several other initiatives that have come about are expanding our disaster response capability. As we mentioned earlier, the flood that happened almost a year ago, we're coming upon that anniversary as a very big impact. We are still here. We are still providing services. We just got a grant that's going to be able to have us be able to provide about $1.5 million for families that need assistance, whether their housing needs to be support with their housing and other needs that they have. We're still here. We're working locally with Burnett County on the long-term recovery groups that are going to be opening locations both in Marble Falls and in Burnett for people to drop by and be able to speak to us about their needs and us being able to help facilitate applications to those dollars. And that's going to continue to happen going forward beyond the anniversary. But we've also had a couple of flood events since then, and this will continue to be a presence that we'll have here in that disaster response to make sure folks' needs are met. But that's kind of where I want to stop. I appreciate the time and ability to give some updates on where we are legislatively and where we are moving forward particularly in providing services and expansion of services and access in the rural communities, and really appreciate the partnership here with the Commissioners Court. Again, budget time, I'd love to come visit about some other needs and some other projects that we've specifically come up through our meetings here in the community, and really appreciate your time and appreciate Judge Nelson serving on our board. Thank you for that appointment that you all have made. She's been an invaluable asset to the community and expresses the needs of Burnett County often in all of our meetings. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions before he steps away? Okay. All right. Thank you for showing up when we started the mark. It was nice that your people were there every day when the first couple of weeks after the flood. That's very, very powerful. Your presence was very powerful and appreciated there in so many other ways. Thank you for always being a good partner with us and continue to look for. I had a presentation where I guess you're for the intellectually disabled, you have hosting the ARC down in our facility so they can do day camps and adult daycare a couple of times a year. And so I look forward to working with you and making sure we enhance those services for people. I mean, anybody that's spent time taking care of a parent or a child, a disabled child, it's just, you can get worn out just day after day. And it's just like you're all alone and isolated. And so we appreciate the outreach that y'all do and the services you provide in so many different ways. So
Thank you, Judge.
thank you.
Thank you.
I call agenda item number 6, executive session with the Burnett County Commissioners Court to convene. Is the is auditor here yet? So we might just pass on that one. Oh, no, I'm sorry, agenda item number 6, executive session for the Burnett County Commissioners Court will convene an executive session pursuant to 551072 Texas Government Code, allowing for the deliberation on the purchase and exchange, lease, or value of real property if such discussion may harm the county's negotiating position. The time is now 9:28. We're going to go into executive session. I think it'll last about 10 minutes. But I'll come back as soon as we finish, and then reconvene. Thank you. And then for the meeting of the commissioners, Philip Arnold and Eddie Arredondo and Miss Colleen Davis. And then I think that's it. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Thought I was missing one person. Okay, time is now 9:40. I called the executive session over at 9:37. We'll come back to reconvene into open session. I call agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the matters discussed in executive session, including but not limited to the authorization of funds for the purpose of obtaining appraisal of real property in amount not to exceed $5,000 from line item 7106895-5300. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, close public comment. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Okay, Commissioner Luther has moved, Commissioner Collier has seconded. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
The action.
We're taking the action right now. The action is to obtain an appraisal of real property in the amount not to exceed $5,000. So any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 9, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the following: accepting the resignation from Emergency Management Coordinator Derek Marcio effective June 12th, 2026, and appointing Ed Hashbarger as Interim Emergency Management Coordinator effective on June 13th, 2026. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay. Close public comment. Okay. Mr. Marcio?
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. What I can say is over the last 3.5 years, I've had the honor and privilege to serve this community, to serve this court. And while I am moving on to, a different job, a different part of the country, or a different part of the state, it's country, Republic of Texas, right? But, I've definitely, enjoyed my time here, really had long-term plans. Just this move is a little better for my family. But as I was contemplating what to come out here and say today, there was one thing that really came to mind. It was something that happened in 2006 before I headed off to Iraq. The battalion commander came out on a Friday at our release formation. Nice hot German sun beating down on us. We're just all wanting to get out and go have a good time. Well, one of our companies was about to deploy as a part of a task force to Iraq ahead of the rest of the brigade. And he came out yelling, standards and discipline. And he repeated himself like 3 times, and we're all just kind of like, what the heck's this guy talking about? It was the sternest compliment and warning that I think I've ever got. And what he meant by that is when he showed up as a battalion commander a couple years prior, There was literally rust coming out of the gun tubes of the tanks. Vehicles were broken. Weapons were rusty. And it was through standards and discipline that we were able to take a battalion that was basically in shambles and turn it into, the top armor unit in Europe at the time. We had multiple tanks that shot top 5 and even top tank in Europe during our previous gunneries. And the warning was that it was standards and discipline that would take us forward, that would get us home after our deployment, that would make sure that we completed the mission. Because at the end of the day, especially being 1st Infantry Division, duty first. And as every soldier learns from day one, the mission comes first. And that's what I tried to apply here over 3.5 years. And I can say that I've left what I hope to be a lasting impression on what emergency management needs to look like and the direction that it needs to go. Because as I've been here for the last 3.5 years working with our public safety agencies, what I have seen is a marked increase in actually implementing the standards that have been set at the federal level, the National Incident Management System, and it's following, concepts of the Incident Command System. With that, we've had much better resource management on, large fires and other incidents, the floods. But through the other concepts of emergency management, applying the standards and best practices that we've learned over the last 50 years, we were able to much better manage how we responded to the 2025 floods. But what I'll leave you with is that through proactive emergency management, there were a lot of things that have been missed at least over the last 3.5 years, because I've been in a constant state of response due to a numerous wildfire season in 2023, various flooding incidents in 24, minor, albeit trying to find those trigger points to where we know what bad looks like in the future, where we should be worried beforehand. Then 2025. Well, we all know what happened in 2025. And for somebody to hold that on their shoulders throughout that entire year and all the changes that were happening at the same time, it results in somebody being extremely burned out. So while I wasn't actually looking for a new position, because I wanted to make sure that we improved, I will still be making myself available through our after-action process. Not as a member of this, this organization, but as somebody who's interested in making sure that we're able to move forward. Now, out of those 2025 floods, you find leadership, you find action. I know the other part of this is appointing Mr. Hashbarger as the interim. Now, what I noticed when I found their operation, when he brought their operation to my attention during the response efforts, an organization that went from just a little VFW down the road, serving drinks, doing bingo, those types of things, to what I would consider a very effective, response. Feeding over 600 meals a day, providing supplies to individuals who had some of those immediate needs for helping clean out their homes and cleaning out homes themselves. Stand up that kind of operation without having any sort of framework or anything set up beforehand, it was beyond impressive. Now, he approached me, of course, in those months after, wanting to know what more he could do. So I brought him on as a volunteer. Finally made that happen really about in January. He was part of the impetus that got us a better volunteer policy. And like I say, I have confidence that he can do it, at least in the interim. When you go out to hire, he knows he'll be in the competition. And I think it'll be a very stiff competition for anybody else. But again, with that, I want to say thank you, not only to this court, but I know we have Bluebonnet Trails here. Where did they leave? Well, Bluebonnet Trails, of course, but the Arc of Highland Lakes, the Community Resource Center, and all the other organizations that are active here in Burnett County that help during times of need. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. Okay, I've already done public comment. We have,
I'd move to accept the resignation, Derek Marshall, effective June 12th.
okay,
Second.
all right. Dockery has moved and Commissioner Luther has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Okay. Regarding B, I have Mr. Hashbarger here if you want to discuss. He's been volunteering for the department, been through the criminal background check, been through the PIO trainings, all the required trainings that he's accomplished while he's been a volunteer. And so we can bring him up here or consider a motion or however you want to move forward. I guess first, do you have any questions for Mr. Hashbarger, or do you want him to introduce himself to you if you have any? Come on up, Mr. Hashbarger.
Commissioners, I'm Ed Hashbarger. I'm currently the emergency management specialist volunteer underneath the Derek. Most of you know me here or met me before, so if I can answer any questions that you guys might have, just let me know. I have a more detailed certification list in here in case that one wasn't legible, so if anybody wants to see it, just let me know.
How long do we anticipate this interim to be?
Usually around a month for our turnover, by the time we interview and do all that, basically,
And then we'll start the process.
right, we have five applicants so far since we've opened the position, so, and five or six, I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me, but that's, there'll be active interest in it. So, Mr. Hashbarger, you didn't, you're doing this because you've been volunteering and serving in this role, part-time for quite a while, right? You haven't been full-time, since, was it January, around January when you showed up?
Correct,
Okay.
yes, sir.
But you've been doing a lot of training, which probably
I have.
ate up a lot of hours.
I did, I did.
Okay.
After the floods, officially I wasn't on as a volunteer until January, but pre that, I had a calling to continue to do more for our community after what I saw and what I was able to do, and got a lot of guidance from the state level VFW and a lot of support to kind of tie this all together. And so Derek, when I went to Derek, I just said, hey, you're our county resource. What does this look like? What's this path look like? What do I need? And obviously we sat down, went through a lot, and then I'd already met most of the qualifications, if not all at the time. And there was just some things for me to button up. And so that's really, I just came to volunteer to get to see the inner workings, where I can help, getting involved in other parts of the community. The state VFW levels, or VFW at that level, has created a statewide program for response now, and I'm one of those folks at the spearhead of that. So really just submersing myself in it, doing what I need to do to make sure that I can continue to be involved and use my skills to help our community.
Great. And you understand that this is an interim position appointment, that you'll be paid for that interim, and then you'll be competing, you'll have to turn in your application and compete for this position on a full-time basis or an ongoing basis. Is
Understood.
that correct?
Understood.
Okay, just want to get that out in front. There's no expectation for anything beyond you're a former serviceman, you're a former vet, you've been working diligently to build this into your profession as a profession, but you fully understand that nobody's made any promises or
That's
a
correct.
shoe-in or anything like that. And that was one of my
I've been
biggest concerns.
competing my whole life,
Yeah,
so this
no.
is nothing new for me.
No, but I'm just saying, from when you first raised the issue, that it might be a possibility. I was really clear. This is
I
gonna
no,
be-
I just saw that as an opportunity.
That's fine.
You know, I feel blessed to be able to be able to even volunteer at the time.
Right.
And so for me, everything is just a blessing, and it's just another step in a direction that
Great.
I want to just keep on doing more and more. So,
All right. Thank you.
so I fully understand that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Byerly has moved. Commissioner Luther has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Ashcroft.
Commissioner.
Get with HR and get everything worked out.
And get to work.
You get to work, yeah.
Pray there's no emergency, guys.
Yeah. I hope you're slow.
All right, I call agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to purchase 2 high-end enhanced graphic and expanded storage laptops and 2 laptops from Fund 150-40-5750 in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for the district attorneys. It's $20,000 for the total of the 4 laptops. I want to be sure, but everybody understands that. For the district attorney's office to manage, store, and display evidence to prosecute child abuse and neglect cases. The district attorney must approve and accept the specifications subject to the Burnett County purchasing policy prior to purchase. DA Perry Thomas.
Thank you, Judge, members of the court. Perry Thomas, District Attorney. We're requesting the purchase of 4 laptop computers. 2 of them do not need exceptional levels of performance. They're going to be used to display, work with protected evidence that deal with child abuse and child type crimes. And so, because of the nature of the evidence that we are dealing with, they need to be, they'll be handled in a separate way. They won't be used for a day-to-day basis. In the normal course, the DA's office is just used to handle those certain types of crimes. And then the computers are going to be locked up, secured, just like the evidence would as well because of what has been viewed. The other 2 computers we are asking for, higher-end computers, enhanced graphics, memory and processing speed. We're getting more and more what they call phone dumps or computer dumps in criminal cases. That's now the new thing, and we're getting those more frequently. And we're finding that there's so much information on a cell phone. You wouldn't realize it, but when we go to open or download information that's been dumped from a cell phone, there's so much information there. Our current computers sometimes take hours to get that stuff to open. And so we're asking for the 2 enhanced computers to be able to open that more quickly and efficiently so that we can work with the materials we're finding in those cases and display it in court or provide discoveries required by law. So we're asking for 4 computers, 2 on the higher end of the scale, the other 2 just to be used to handle protected information and evidence. So that's what our request is.
Any questions, commissioners?
Just, as Burnett County, is this used for the whole district and we're doing the split, or is this
Yeah,
just
it'll
on
be
Burnett
still
County?
subject to split.
The split.
We approve the budget, take care of the budget functions, and then when it gets charged, it gets attributed back to its appropriate county. So under how we operate, we approve the expenditure of 20,000, but then it gets parsed back out to the counties for. Am I making sense? So in our budget, it's 20,000.
The answer
but
is just,
then-
yeah, I mean, yes.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
Everything that comes out of his office.
Okay.
Is attributed
That's what I
back
thought.
to
Just making sure.
on a
Yes, sir.
proportionate basis.
Thanks, sir.
I'd move for approval.
Hang on, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I thought these were, desktops at one time.
There was talk about buying desktops. Desktops won't work because we are traveling among 4 counties. We have to appear in 4 counties for court or 4 counties to work with law enforcement agencies. And so what we've never requested desktop. Our request has always been for laptop. And so I think I've tried to make that clear in our request here. We need laptops to effectively do our job.
And one other question is, how does that affect, being this is gonna be sensitive information on these computers,
Right.
which is somebody carrying them around in their vehicles?
Well, they'll be carried around in county-issued vehicles to go to and from court or to and from a law enforcement agency to work with. After that, each night they'll have to be locked up with the other evidence. They can't be allowed just to lay around for anyone to get in touch with or to handle.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so they have to be handled in a special manner.
And then the other question is this coming out of IT's budget?
It is. It's the $240,000 that this Commissioners Court budgeted for the computer refresh. I know much of that money's been used for other things and not computer refresh, but I did confirm with the county auditor that this was designated just for the computer refresh. And so this is not money that was supposed to be for IT. It was for $240,000 we set for the 1/3 of the computers in our county to be refreshed this year. So.
Another thing is, Greg, do you have anything?
Yeah. Well, hold on just a minute. So I have a couple of questions. Go ahead, have a seat. I'm gonna, so I want to be clear that this material would be criminal material if it was owned by anybody other than, that it was in the possession of anybody other than a district attorney or a police officer in the official capacity.
That's correct. That's
So
correct.
the risk for your individual, like accidentally mistaken, is pretty high if this was accidentally released to.
That's correct.
If it was sitting on somebody's computer and they attached the wrong file, it's
That's
really a
correct.
pretty high risk endeavor if they're not set aside. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's
And then-
correct.
And then when you first came to me, it was clear that this was always supposed to be laptops. That there was never any discussion between you
That's
and I.
correct.
I don't know, it's been 4 or 5 months ago.
Yes.
That this got set aside.
We need the laptops because we go to law enforcement agencies, but particularly we go among 4 counties and
Right.
sometimes have to appear in court
Right.
and prepare presentations for court. And so we need to be portable in our ability to
Absolutely.
handle those materials.
Thank you. And then we do have a motion that was already provided before we got interrupted. Is there a second?
Well, I'd like to give,
Well, I understand, but we have a motion's been made, so we have to see if we have a second before we do anything else. Is there a second for this motion?
one other question is, are
I'm
these
not
Wi-Fi enabled?
stopping discussion. I just
One
want-
saying, are they Wi-Fi enabled?
One second.
The
Hold on.
two that are-
Just a minute, one second. I have a second by Commissioner Byerly, and so now we can open it back up to discussion, but under Robert's Rules of Order, once a motion comes forward, you have to stop talking about it until you find out if you have a second. So, thank you, Commissioner Byerly. Now, go ahead.
Are they Wi-Fi enabled?
The two that are going to handle sensitive information, we are not going to Wi-Fi enable them. Does that make sense? They will not be hooked up to the Wi-Fi because we don't want accidentally transferring that information out or somebody being able to get into our system.
Yeah.
So those two, we're going to work with IT to make sure that they're not hooked up to Wi-Fi.
And what about our other county IT departments? Our neighboring counties, what have they said? Are we,
We don't, everything is run out of Burnett County for the
so if
DA's
we approve it,
office.
they're good with it?
That's correct. But I mean, like San Sab, I don't know that they have an IT department. So that's why, he's a state district attorney, appointed for all 4 counties, but we work with him to provide his budget and generally, the other judges that said, we defer to Burnett County to vet out these issues. They don't, it's just too complicated for a state official like Mr. Perry to have to be running around to 4 different places, except for, obviously office space or things like that he has to deal with individually. But beyond that, he's a state official located in the county government that is subject to our processes and procedures. So with much of his own funding, quite honestly, there's a pretty good chunk of change that the state pays him directly for lots of different things that we just manage for him. So, I mean, when I say manage, we just administer for him, but it's his own state money. As we dealt, I don't know, two sessions ago, we were dealing with some choices that you had under your legal authority to make. We just worked with you to authorize them. Okay?
I was gonna say what
Okay.
Mr. Harrison opinion is. Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. I just want to be clear that this is not a path that the Technology Department recommends. We have worked with the District Attorney. We've met with the department on their requirements, and we worked with Dell to understand the best suitable devices for these requirements. And those requirements was taken in, and we purchased those machines to alleviate this issue. We purchased 2 brand new machines for the District Attorney for forensics, and we had another 2 for evidence gathering. And so I can tell you beyond a shadow of doubt that those machines are more compatible, and they have been configured into a black hole to ensure the safety of our infrastructure. The reason why we had 4 is because in our communications, the district attorney made sure to say that we wanted to be able to cover both counties. And so we have 1 for each county. And the data that's being brought in is not data on the machine. The data is data being brought in from a external device, which the machine is configured to remove any probable cause for anything that might affect this infrastructure. It's also, when we say black hole, it's not connected to any form of network, Wi-Fi, or anything, because it's only a viewing of the data that's being brought in to the county and for evidence. We also worked the same lines along with the Public Defender's Office because they had a similar request, and we've also done that for their office, and they have been greatly satisfied being able to utilize those machines. I can assure you that the machines that we are talking about and the machines that we're purchasing today is more powerful than any laptop that we might be providing. It also gives us an opportunity for upgrading more memory at a cheaper cost, because when you try to supersize a laptop, it is an extremely large number. When you're using a desktop, it is something that's much more compatible with industry standards for this real-world experience of forensic and evidence gathering for any municipality or county or state. So from that perspective, I also had emails that I made sure that I was communicating directly with the office to ensure that it was not mistaken. I was even provided a workstation as a spec from the office to say that this is the spec that we spec'd. And so that spec was superseded by the specs that we provided because of the technology that now exists in those workstations. So this is against anything that I would recommend. I have made that perfectly clear in writing. I've given them those workstations, and I think that it is a disservice to using county funds to purchase laptops, and this means for this particular effort, which would be better suited and more secure with a workstation. So that's what I have to tell you.
So how does it work from, number one, I guess, when were those workstations purchased? And then number 2, how does this work with multiple agencies having to go to different counties?
Well, what we do is, for example, we ensure that we understand the requirement of the department to make sure that they have all the resources they need utilizing this framework, where they're not carrying around you're not carrying around a laptop with data, because the data is being supplied on an external disk. So there's no reason to have a laptop with this data on it. It's supposed to be provided by evidence on a external disk, and that computer will process that data, much like your phone can now handle that data without having it be supersized. So as we're moving forward, and I am being tasked with, cybersecurity controls and things of that nature, I understand, I definitely respect
District Attorney Perry's, request. However, I cannot set and say that we have not honored that request with the solution that we provided. And I'm not 100% sure as to allocating funds that's in my budget without having a communication or any type of communication with me as the person responsible for that budget.
So just, when you say workstation, is that a desktop?
Yes, sir.
So but they can't use it. They need to be mobile with them, right?
No. So the solution is that they won't have to be mobile because we will have that workstation where it's necessary for them to be able to view that information that you should not be viewing in any public settings. It should be a secure area for any forensic or evidence that's being sent through the court.
Well, I would assume where they view them in the other counties is secure. But they need to get to the other county, right?
And we would provide that desktop, is what I'm saying to you. There would be no reason to carry any mobile device across anywhere because that information will be on a flash drive. That information that they're receiving is not being carried by the laptop. It is a flash drive. It's an external drive.
But to view it in Llano County, they need to take it with them, right?
No, we would have the device in Llano County for them to use when they get to Llano County.
So they can plug it in. Actually, that flash drive could go into any computer as long as it works. So
Correct.
how do you know on the other end whether that computer is not going to retrieve that information or download it?
Well,
I understand all that.
because the computers are locked. There is no, it's a black hole, meaning that there is no access to the internet. There is no access to the infrastructure that computer is on. So you don't run a risk of providing any intrusion into anyone's infrastructure, no matter where you go.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Perry. Ms. Thomas.
The desktops are not practical for us because we need to appear in 4 different counties. There may be times that we have court in Blanco County. And so we can't just take a flash drive and go to any old computer and plug it in. We've contaminated that computer now, and it's no longer a secure computer. So the 2 computers that we're looking for to use for protected information are going to be the only 2 computers that it's used on. And there's going to be occasions that we will need to appear in other counties. We need to travel. We can't travel with a desktop. We've got to have a laptop to be able to show and work with that information. And sometimes we have to appear in court and unfortunately display this information for judge and jury to see. And so desktops will not work for us. We also have situations too where defense attorneys and their clients by law have the opportunity to view this information prior to trial. And so we need to be able to put it in a position in our office where we can watch them viewing this information and satisfy our discovery requirements. And so it needs to be moved around even within our offices. So laptops.
But the rules of evidence that dictate your procedure for this, I mean, there's a very specific statutory authority that you are responsible for managing.
That's correct.
And no one else in this 4-county jurisdiction has the authority to tell you, other than by judicial order where you've been directed to do something different than what the rules of the rules of evidence adopted by the Supreme Court and by state law.
By state law, we have to provide this information, and there's rules on who gets to see it,
And how they
get to see it. And so we need to be in a position where we can make sure we're complying with the law, but also protecting that sensitive information too. And so to make this system work, to be able to appear in 4 counties, we need to be at laptops to be able to travel around and make sure that those are the only 2 computers that we're corrupting.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I call the question. Commissioner Luther, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Barley?
Aye.
Commissioner Collier,
No.
Commissioner Dockery,
No.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Okay, I call agenda item number 11. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding amending the Burnett County hotel occupancy tax policy to reflect collection of taxes on a quarterly calendar year schedule instead of a quarterly fiscal year schedule. Ms. Blair Manning, is she here? I saw her walk through a while ago. Okay. Is she? Well, I saw her walk by a while ago, a few minutes. Okay. Anyway, so basically, if you look at the first page under subsection F, under item 11, this is the quarterly period, which means the quarterly, and it redefines the quarterly. So apparently, we were doing a October to
We're doing a fiscal year.
fiscal
versus
year,
calendar
and that doesn't coincide with the state sales tax collection. So they just felt like it would be more consistent, so they can do the same quarter each time as they do their sales tax report. They can also do the county tax on the same level. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, I close public comment. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Dockery has moved, Commissioner Byerly seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 12, discuss, consider, take appropriate action regarding the release of maintenance bond number 7901142-862 for Big Creek Ranch Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Herb Darling, Burnett County Development Services. The rain finally let up enough for them to get a road patch, so we can finally release this bond.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Luther has moved, Commissioner Collier has seconded. Any further, is there any public comment on this issue? Okay, close public comment. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Yeah, thank you. I call agenda item number 13, discuss and consider taking appropriate action concerning a final plat of Kingsland Commons, Lot 15, being one lot on 1.931 acres located east of the intersection of FM 2342 and FM 1431. Mr. Darling.
We preliminary platted this 2 years ago for conceptual plan. These are commercial tracts off the highway. They're platting one at a time. I believe this is indicated to be a convenience store. We've got a Dollar General and a Chicken Express broke ground a few weeks ago. It's a nice addition for the Kingsland area.
Okay.
Served by K-Mud, Kingsland Water Supply Corp.
Okay.
Do they have a driveway permit?
They do. Yes, sir. We confirm with TxDOT.
Is there any public comment? I close public comment. Wait, did you raise your hand? Okay, sorry.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Luther has moved. Commissioner Byerly has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Two. Okay, I call agenda item number 14, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action concerning the final plat approval of the Preserve of 1840, preliminary platted as Oatmeal Preserve, a private subdivision consisting of 40 lots on 150.26 acres located in the 4,000 block of County Road 336. Commissioner Collier, Mr. Darling.
This too has been held up by rain, this project. They wish to complete the road, prior to planting. They finally got a break in the weather and got the road paved. I looked at it yesterday morning. Commissioner Collier drove through yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
Move to approve. Second.
Commissioner Collier has moved. Commissioner Luther has seconded. Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, I'll close public comment. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. This one. Okay, I call agenda item number 15, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding budget interdepartment line item transfers, elections transferring $6,440 from voting equipment fund 2934922 5750 to support fees and licensing fees, fund 2934922 4540 to reconcile HAVA funds for reimbursement. Sheriff's Department transferring $3,000 from Professional Services Fund 100-5600-4010 to Contracts and Agreements Fund 100-5600-4000 to cover shortage in contracts and agreements, and Road and Bridge Precinct 1 transferring $7,000 from Operating Supply 310-6110-3300 to Vehicle Equipment Repair and Maintenance Fund 310-6110-4510 for vehicle and equipment repairs. Is there any public comment on these agenda items? I close public comment. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Luther has moved.
Second.
Commissioner Dockery seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. I call agenda item number 16, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action for the authorization of payments of claims previously approved by the county auditor. The 2 expense reports.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Byerly has moved. Commissioner Dockery has seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. Any public comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 17, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to approve, sign, and execute all necessary documents and actions regarding the following contracts, agreements to be approved and or ratified, enter into an updated memorandum of understanding with the Friends of the Spicewood Library, enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Ocala Community Center, Inc. for the use of Burnett County-owned buildings, enter into an independent contractor agreement, driver for veterans transportation between Burnett County and Laura Ann Hoskins, enter into a second amendment to agreement with Pinnacle Consulting Management Group, Inc. to revise the method of compensation structure from a milestone base to an hourly billing structure for the WordStam project in an amount not to exceed $447,250. Enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Burnett for facility rental application agreement for the September 9th Burnett County Employee Health Fair. Enter into a contract with the Home and Community-Based Services for counties affected by July 4th, 2025 disaster declaration with the Capital Area Council of Governments for compensation to Burnett County in an amount up to $25,000 for 625 emergency preparedness kits and $7,500 for outreach and administrative expenses. Enter into a peace officer training reimbursement agreement with Cadet Daniel Hernandez in the amount not to exceed $30,419.96, and enter into a peace officer training reimbursement agreement with Cadet David Moran in the amount not to exceed $30,419.96. Is there any public comment on these agenda items? No? Okay.
Judge, I'll just for clarity, I want to address item D, the Second Amendment with Pinnacle Consulting. That does not change that maximum amount not to exceed is the same as it was in the original contract. They just changed the formatting for the billing to stay within that not to exceed amount. So
Can I make a friendly correction? Because the it's 477 is what the contract is now. We did, because of the length of the project, we did have to go back out and do some secondary appraisals. So the 477 is actually where we are today after, I guess it was about, I don't know, 8 weeks ago, maybe in March, we had to amend the contract because the appraisals had
Yeah.
text. So anyway, just want to make sure.
Anyway, it's
447.
we've already taken action on that, and this does not increase the amount of the contract. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Right, thank you. Anything else? Okay. No public comment? Okay. I close public comment, and do I have a motion?
Move for approval of A through H.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Byerly has moved. Commissioner Luther seconded. And I just, as far as discussion, I just want to say thank you, Commissioner Byerly, for taking the lead on helping us. This is twice now. You've done a really good job of taking our county facilities, kind of codifying what we're doing with them and taking the lead on that. Now we've got an agreement with Ocala that I think will stand up, just that we're using public access for community good, and I appreciate it's twice now you've taken the lead on that, and I appreciate that. Okay, any other, okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Okay, call agenda item number 16, discuss, consider to take appropriate action regarding RFQ 264090, vendor selection selected on May 26, 2026. This is entering into a contract with Streamline Engineering LLC for the SB warning sirens, professional engineering and project management services in the amount not to exceed $367,165 from account number 290-1320-1000, and to acknowledge that the SB3 warning siren grant provides additional funds for the full scope of the engineering and project management with no match required for the county. So
Just as a point of clarity, Judge, you said item 16, but read in 18. Just you meant 18.
I'm sorry. Yes. Chad, you're going to have to stay on me about my glasses.
I told you to put those glasses on.
Thank you. So I called agenda item number 18. All right. Is there any public comment on this issue?
Good morning, Mike Comboy. Just need to clarify this $367,000. Is that for the installation of the product, or is that
No,
just management? Because on the 26th, y'all approved $50,000, not to exceed $50,000 for the management. So how did it go from 50 to 367?
I'm fixing to explain that. So
Okay, well, while I'm here, whatever y'all do with this project, we need a good maintenance project. So if 10 years down the road and we have a long drought, we still have $1 million investment in a warning system.
okay. All right. Thank you. I'm fixing to lay that out. So this is agenda item number 18. And so we issued if y'all remember last year, they gave us $1 million, no resolution. They had said, here's $1 million. We accepted the $1 million. Then they came back and did they asked us to do a resolution. We did a resolution. So we've been getting this piece at a time as they've tried to really rush this program out. So we issued a call. One of the things that we recognized that Mr. Marcio and I looked at it and said, we don't have the staff to manage this kind of project. Cottonwood Shores, all these other cities are reaching out to us. We want a siren. We want a siren. And so we're just like, okay, hold on. I don't know anything about sirens or engineering. So we decided to go out for just a project manager on this. That's what we said, $50,000 for project management. And we were going to pay for it out of county money to figure out how we were going to manage this whole grant with all the cities in our county and things like that. So after we went out to bid, the project management portion of this contract is about $21,000, which is just to write a plan. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's in here. Still in the last one. And so, but what they explained to us, and as after we reached back out to the Texas Water Development Board, what they're expecting for us, the way that they're operating is they're doing payments on that million grant, and they sent us a notice that the engineering portion and can be used throughout but they have another $250,000 that they're going to pay us if we go ahead and do the engineering. Now, to Mr. Kamala's point, I was more, and actually Commissioner Dockery was the one that brought this up. I'm concerned about a long-term maintenance agreement about installing this. And Mike, maybe you said something about this in the past, but somehow it got onto our radar. And so we've added another section on here for, but the way it changed is after we reached out to the Water Development Board, this contract is going to be fully reimbursed. There'll be no match for the county, the 367. When we turn in the $21,000 plan, they're going to send us $250,000. And then the next three items are all engineering. There's a map in my office where the Water Development Board has already identified specifically where we can have sirens, if anywhere. It's limited to these orange things on the map. And so, and then once the entire project is engineered, we'll have, what is that, 367 minus 1.25. We're going to have 875,000, something like that. I'm sorry, I'm just rounding in my head. That will be just for the sirens, which is the gate. I want to be clear, the sirens include the gauges, so there'll be a rain gauge, a flood gauge, and the warning system itself. And then the other part of that is because of that map that's in my office, we have to have, through our emergency management and flood mitigation plan, whatever's not covered in the sirens, then we have to have a plan to what we're going to do. So if you get out into your country or some of your places, there's nobody around to hear a siren, but we still have to have a plan about how we're going to deal with that low water crossing or whatever. Does that make sense? So the 367, the 50,000 that we were going to pay out of county money became 367,000 of all state funds, and this meets the criteria according to the Texas Water Development Board. So that's what we're asking for today. Does that answer your question?
Clear as mud.
Well,
It's the best I can do.
if you went through the procedure last time to select Streamline as the award of the $50,000, how does that put the rest of these folks that were here for the bid process, and now you've changed it to 367?
Again, let me find the page on here.
I just want to be fair to
have-
folks. This guy got the answer?
I don't know. Okay, go ahead. Why don't you let him speak?
So what I was gonna say is, so that 50,000 was kind of a shot in the dark to kind of get the ball rolling. Because the scope of this project is huge. We're talking about 1,000 square miles worth of county and, obviously much more limited areas to where this flash flooding, occurs. Now, according to that map, so let's just add to the complexity of it. So this doesn't just go to the unincorporated areas of the county. The system has to be inclusive of our cities, which is going to involve a process of interlocal agreements to be able to actually, to go into that maintenance. Just like we do with our radio system, we have an agreement with our surrounding counties to maintain that system. Well, in this case, we're going to be entering into those interlocal agreements with our cities to help pay for that maintenance as well. So as a part of this, at least when it comes to the maintenance portion, we are definitely going to see, because we don't want to invest in a system that we can't maintain. So part of this process is keeping those maintenance costs in mind so that 10 years down the road, when we're coming out of a drought in the same fashion that we did last year, that system is still operable. And it's still operable every spring when we have rains like we've had this year. So that's really kind of the biggest thing, at least on the maintenance portion. So that's why, this project management piece is so important and why a lot of that cost is there. there's a lot of considerations to make that one person doing just can't. So what they're bringing is they're bringing a team and they're bringing expertise to be able to make sure that we are getting a siren system that falls within the bounds, of course, with this, these grant funds that we're getting, that really brings into, that rest of that perspective. I had a point that I was getting to, and now I can't remember it. Great.
I found the table I was looking for.
Thank you.
In the middle of the document is a table, tasks 1 through 4, and the first part of it. So just for the public's knowledge, this procurement was done under Texas Government Code 2254-004. And so under that statute, when we deal with professional services, we're not allowed to talk about price. We're only allowed to talk about the qualifications and quality of the work. That's what we did when we selected this vendor. We looked at and took presentations from all the different folks, and this is this vendor we selected. If you look in the middle of the document, there's a table that says $47,450. That is the middle part of the tranche that we set it not to exceed 50,000, and that part of the bid came in to 47,450. But we determined that this engineer was the qualified and best engineer to take us through this project. And we found out that all of these funds, not the 50,000 was going to be Burnett County money, is now going to be totally reimbursed. And once we do the 47,400, this task 1, system planning and preliminary evaluation, we will turn in that bill, and the Water Development Board in $250,000 increments will be sending us our funds to pay for the whole thing. So all this is, like I said, it's laid out in 2254-004, and we followed that process, and the bid for the first portion of this did come below the $50,000 that we put out. But he's also doing the rest of the scope of the work. And it's my recommendation that we award this for the full amount. So we have one project manager and one design lead engineer company to carry us through this process.
I think that very much answers his question. It's professional services. We just have to go on the qualifications and not price. Under chapter 2254-004 of the Texas Government Code, the only thing we were allowed to consider was the qualifications, which we did in open court. And the engineering services, the price we had to negotiate afterwards, after we agreed what we had. It wasn't like buying a pencil that we could just go out to bid. It was, we're trying to find the best qualified engineer to carry us through the process. So, okay. So any other public comment? Okay. Go ahead and close public comment. Do I hear a motion? I'll move to approve A and B.
Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Collier has moved. Commissioner Luther has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 19, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action for approval to apply for the Bureau of Justice Assistance 2025 State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, or SCAP, with the requested award of $15,000 and no match requirement. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, I close public comment. All right, and then, do I hear a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Byerly has moved, Commissioner Collier has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am?
Is it SCAPP or SCAAP?
Let me look at the document.
I mean, I feel like it's AAP because of the words, but.
Yeah, it's the acronym in parentheses should be AAP. Yeah.
I got it.
I just want to make sure they're right in the minutes.
Correct.
It's SCAAP.
Yeah, that's a typo.
And
So-
it's correct in the attachment.
Thank you. I call agenda item number 20, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to approve, sign, and execute all necessary documents and actions regarding the following sponsorship to be funded for the hotel occupancy tax. Arts Encounter at the Museo Benini in the amount not to exceed $3,500. Ms. Manning's not here. Okay. I do note that this one is quite a bit higher than most of their other sponsorships. Sorry, Ms.
It's a multi-event funding, is what it is. There's several events.
Right. Okay. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Close public comment. Okay, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Collier has moved, Commissioner Dockery has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion passes. Call agenda item number 21, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action accepting and rejecting the proposals received for rebid of number 265120-01 for the jail fire panels in the amount not to exceed $548,865 from Fund 745120-5300. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, I'll close public comment. Chief, do you have anything that you want to, as far as which one of these, just the low bid, or do you have any additional information?
I believe they were the only two that submitted, and the amount on the line item is the suggested.
Okay.
Is this about in line what we have figured, price-wise?
Believe so. I'm not exactly positive. I believe it's in the ballpark, but I can't remember if it's, I know it was close to that amount.
Well,
Do you have that
I mean,
directly in front of you?
normally we put the highest on there, so, but
It was within the, yes, it was,
but I mean, usually we take the lowest unless there's some prevailing reason, I guess is what I'm saying.
the,
One's 325, one's 548.
and Kaplan Kimbler would have to be the one that would
Okay.
discuss, would describe whether they met both, all the requirements and.
You think you can give him a holler and see
Sure.
if he can, I mean,
To-
like I said, normally we just pick the lowest one, but I just want to make sure that there's, the problem with fire panels is you and I have had past discussions.
Yes, sir.
They're so
Unique.
unique, and if you get the wrong vendor, you get a mess, so.
Yes, sir. And that's what we're experiencing already with
Right.
North Annex.
Right, and I don't want to go down that road, so if you don't mind, we'll move on to another item and then.
Perfect.
Thank you. Is that okay? Any objections? Okay, thank you. 23, I call agenda item number, sorry.
That was 21.
That was 21. There's nothing in 22. I call agenda item number 22. Oh, there it is. Thank you. I call agenda item number 22, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action concerning accepting and rejecting proposals received for bid number 266110-01 for Boom Ax and Road and Bridge Precinct 1 in the amount not to exceed $329,551.4 from the Fund 722-6110-5760. Commissioner Luther.
We are requesting to purchase a new boom ax. Our current boom ax is over 20 years old. It's currently broke down up on County Road 108. We had two bids come in, $307,514.33, $329,551.40. We evaluated both of these machines. We're requesting to go with the higher bid, which is Anderson Machinery. That machine is made out of Seguin, Texas. The other vendor is made in Florida. So we had an issue with that as far as servicing that machine in the long term. The cab on the Mantis tractor, you can get a 360-degree view out of that cab. And the profile of it, for our operators, it enhances their safety. As opposed to some limited visibility out of the other one. So we are requesting to purchase the Anderson machine. It's a Mantis machine for $329,551.40.
Okay, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, I close public comment.
Are other precincts gonna get to demo it?
You know, we can probably work something out on a very short-term basis.
How much is the rent? I'm just kidding.
We
Yeah,
really,
you might
we
make
can
some
talk
money
about
out of
that.
This appears it's coming out of your tax note. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I would move for approval, bid number 266110-01 for a boom axe for Road and Bridge 1 and the amount not to exceed $329,551.40 from Fund 722-6110-5760.
There's a second.
And it be awarded to,
And to be awarded to Anderson Equipment for a Mantis machine.
I'll second, and I'll also add that the safety factor is invaluable for the 360.
360.
That's something that we looked at heavily in evaluating the machine, was the safety of the machine as far as the visibility.
People don't stop, and you got to be able to see. It's an invaluable aspect. Thanks for doing that.
All right. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. The public comments closed. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 23, discuss and consider take appropriate action concerning the approval to go out for rebid for the fuel card services since no responses were received to the first posting.
move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Dockery has moved. Commissioner Collier seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
The only thing I will say about that is there's not many people in that business.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Voyager and Fuelman and. we didn't get a
Fuelman and
response.
Wex.
Oh, is there
They're the ones
another?
I've ever
Okay.
dealt with.
All right. I call agenda item number 24, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding directing the Information Technology Department to immediately and at all times permit the auditor's office to place inventory tracking tags on county-owned hardware assets for inventory control and asset management purposes. So we received a memo from our county auditor, and Ms. Glazer's here. Is there any public comment on this issue? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mike Conlon. Will this be an inventory tracking for countywide equipment? Or is this singling out IT?
Well, there is currently a standard she'll lay out, but that all equipment owned by the county has to be appropriately tagged and inventoried.
So it is a practice now?
It is already a practice, and this is directing the IT department, or considering directing the IT department to meet that criteria.
Is there a value
Yes,
that
sir.
includes, is there a value
There's a
that
standard of at least $500.
500?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Ms. Glazer.
Kelly Glazer, Burnett County Auditor. I have brought this to the Commissioners Court because I'm having trouble fulfilling my statutory duties in tracking and inventorying assets. According to Local Government Code 115, the county auditor has an absolute, independent statutory right and duty to examine all physical property purchased. As detailed in the attached finding, the IT department has actively blocked the auditor's office from fulfilling this statutory duty. It has refused to allow physical verification of inventory and asset tagging. The IT department has purchased around $440,000 worth of equipment this year. I've tagged $184,000. The other $259,000 has not been tagged. That's about 58% of their purchases. This is a risk to the county and an internal control issue. One thing is to comply with the Burnett County purchasing policy. and to comply with the Governmental Accounting Standards Board standards to ensure accurate financial reporting, and to validate the building contents are adequately covered by insurance. And what I'm here to ask the court is to give me unhindered physical access to all infrastructure components for the purpose of asset verification and tagging within the next 10 days. And to continue that as more assets are purchased. And if you go to the page that says findings on it, it gives you more detail as to what we tried to do and what the IT director did not allow us to do. When we went to tag these assets, there were some that were in cardboard boxes from the shipping. They had not been opened, and they are supposed to be, when they're brought into the county, they're supposed to be open, tagged, and then sent to IT. And it seems that some of the vendors are now sending the assets directly to the IT department and bypassing the auditor's office. That was one of the problems. And then the other issue was when we asked to see what was in the servers and tagged those assets, we were told that we were not able to open those, and that I had requested if we could run a report on those assets, kind of like you do on your iPhone, to get each server and how many hard drives and how much RAM was in there. I was told that that wasn't possible. So on the last few pages, I contacted Synology, which is the brand of servers we have. And Synology said that it is possible to run a report, that you don't have to open the servers up and take out each hard drive. And you can get the serial numbers, and we can confirm that what we received and what we paid for is here at Burnett County, and we're able to, by using that report. And so what I'm
Just
asking.
to be clear, I see on this email, to that point you just made, it says, at this time, DSM doesn't provide a built-in export report which combines all hardware details. Is that, it says doesn't.
No, it doesn't include the RAM, but you can get, each one of these hard drives are about $1,000.
Okay.
On one invoice we bought 68 of them. And so we've got $68,000 that we can't track in just one invoice. And each one of them has a serial number, and we need those serial numbers so that we make sure that we have all those assets tagged in inventory. And what I'm asking the Commissioners Court to do is to get the IT department to comply with the auditor's office and get us that information.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
I'm sorry.
Anybody have any questions?
For Ms. Glaze?
Is that all? That's it? Just that little? Because they've been working with the auditors
Except
for
when,
numerous Fridays.
except on Fridays, we have tagged what we could tag. And with that, there are items in boxes that we were told we could not open and tag. And then there's the servers that already have the inventory in them that we aren't allowed to get.
Well, those servers you can't open up. You'll have to put an asset tag on the side of it
Well,
to include what's in it.
what we need in the auditor's office is server number 1 has X number of hard drives, and here are their serial numbers, and has X number of RAM, and here are their serial numbers, and that's unit number 1. And then if there's 3 or 4 at 127 Jackson, then we need that information, because insurance, when we insure it, we have to know the dollar amount of the assets in the building. And if some of them are at the sheriff's office, say server 5 and 6 are at the sheriff's office, we need to know that too. And right now, we've got $259,000 worth of assets that we don't know where they are. And it's an internal control risk. And if we continue to go through the year and not tag assets that come in, and we spend that $1 million, it will be a material finding on our audit. We could get a qualified or an adverse opinion, which drops bond ratings and allows us, or doesn't allow us to be approved for grants. So there's quite a bit at risk.
Well, I know they've been working with you for a while, and it's kind of just, the scope of work has kind of changed several times. And this was so far behind that you're asking for a lot in a short period of time that was decades. No inventory control was done.
That is not correct. We tag assets on a routine basis.
IT.
And IT, from December, we have been asking, hey, we need to tag this information, and we have been turned down. And in March, when I got finished with the external auditor, I said, we got to get after this because we have to close our books for year end. And we're going to have to reconcile what we've paid for in assets to the asset tags. And right now, we're $259,000 behind. And this has taken 3 weeks that we haven't tagged anything. Because I was told, no, you can't open those boxes, and no, you can't get into the servers. And one of the staff members actually said, well, if you want to come up here on a Saturday and maybe 2 a.m, we can shut this down and do one server and then do another. And the IT director said, no, we're not doing that. So it is possible to tag these. There's different stories. Huh?
You can't put those tags inside.
No, I don't want the tags. I want to know that in this server, you have so many hard drives, which I don't know if there's 10 in there or there's 56, and then you have expansion units in there. I don't know how much is in there to know each one of those servers as to the value of that server.
But this report, if you run it, it'll tell you what's in there?
It'll give me the hard drives, which are between $1,000 and $2,000 a piece. Which that's an easy way to do most of the work that needs to be done. But then even if I have all of the information on the servers, we still have, there's about 150,000 in the servers. There's another 100,000 that is either in those shipping boxes or somewhere else.
Can we get some clarification from Mr. Harris?
Hold on, just a minute. Is there anything else that we need to know? And y'all have no more questions before I ask her to sit down?
Not for Kelly.
Okay, all right. And is there any other concerns related to Chapter 262 that you're concerned about?
Well, 262 is a different story. This is 115.
Okay, all right.
So,
Mr. Harris.
Good morning again, Commissioners and Judge. You know, as I listen to the auditor characterization of where we are, I want to be emphatically clear that that is just inaccurate. We have done everything in our power to alleviate a problem that has been throughout this county for years. Once again, we came in court a quarter or so ago, and we explained that we created the digital paperwork that we use to track access and bring those access to closure when they are end of life. We also created the digital access that allows us to transfer equipment. This request has snowballed. It started with knowing what was in the data center, and we provided that data. And then the last request went back to 2024. So this is not an unwillingness to participate in a process in which I am very emphatically for. We have created our internal systems to allow us to track from an onboarding process of a user to the offboarding process of a user to the asset that they have been assigned, to the movement of that asset, and to the purchase of an asset within the IT department. And this is not going to go overnight. It's going to take us time because this did not exist. But in the interim, what we have been providing to the auditors was years of information on a flash drive via email of all the access that we have received and all the access that we have put out into the population. This is not a policy dispute. This is process. There are no processes documented in this county as to how we are to act as actors within the technology department or any other department. Those things help us know this is what the requirements are, and we don't have those requirements. Just saying we have a policy just is not good enough. We've had several weeks of meeting with the auditor's office, obtaining information that they felt like they needed, and that has been very minimal. Now, what we're referencing when we start talking about the dollar amount, yes, the hard drives are expensive. And honestly, some of them are over $3,000. That's what a NAS system includes. Now, when those hard drives are arrived, they are documented. There is an invoice, there's a PO assigned, and all of that information of the serial number for every hard drive is in that documentation. Now, this has not been a requirement because the county has not purchased enterprise systems, so this is the first that we're doing this. So yes, I expect there to be some gaps, and we have worked diligently with the auditor's office to define, okay, here are gaps. This is an enterprise system because the request was we need to tag those hard drives. And that is something against any system or industry standard by NIST or anyone else about hard drive tagging. We even got to the point they wanted to tag the cables. And some of these requests, while it might seem from a policy perspective to be a reasonable ask, from an industry perspective, it is not. It violates anything that goes with securing a system in this industry. It violates any warranty ideas if you start touching hard drives and things of that nature on a system. There are other ways, and we're willing to work with the auditor's office to come up with these processes to tag things that are entering into the county. For example, if there's a box and it includes a server, and that server is $20,000, well, we do not open that box until it's time to configure and move that server to the proper location. We receive tags from the auditor's office, and with those tags, we assign those tags to the access. Now, process. Is there a process for this? No, there's no documentation for it. There's no ask for it. This is what we have been doing because this is what have been done throughout the years. And is there a lack? Is there a bad job? No, it's a good try of trying to accommodate some things that were not in place. So this is not a question of a policy. There is no processes that are in place to help us maintain whatever statutes that are necessary for the auditor's office. Now, what can we do moving forward? Once again, we have been available. We've made ourselves available. We made ourselves available before hours, after hours, weekends, or whatever that might be, because we are running a county and we're supporting the county. We only have 3 guys. So we don't have the resources to stop our day and let the county go bad. So a way forward is collaboration, not this. And so whatever that collaboration entails, I do want to make sure I restate this. This is just a huge mischaracterization of what we were not willing to do. There were statements made of things that are against a standards, and how do we overcome those things? But we were never not willing to do anything. We've made ourselves available and we continue to make ourselves available.
So the 2 issues, I guess, are you able to run these reports for her to tell her what each one has without opening them up?
Right, and what we stated to the auditor is that once the systems are complete and we are done configuring those machines, we will be able to provide what's in those machines. Being that the ask was, how many hard drives are in the machine? Because you're not going to be able to assess memory and things of that nature. So you run a huge risk bringing down the systems and bringing them back up, moving hard drives and all that, right? So yes, once the systems are configured, then we will be able to provide what is in that machine, how many hard drives, how many SSDs, how many spinning drives do we have in that machine.
So are there some configured you can do that now to get the ball rolling?
They're not completely configured, no, sir.
When will they be available?
Well, we're waiting for the fiber to be completed, or we can connect them. But we've also had a tremendous amount of cables and things that we've had to order in order to connect those machines to the network. And in that cable cost, you might be looking at around $8,000 just in cables, because the cables are expensive.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Glazer, do you have anything else to respond?
My only summary on this is that we have assets that are untagged. In order for me to close the books at year end, I need them tagged. And when I say tagged, I need to know what is in each server, how much, and the serial numbers on that. And if these are not currently being used, then I don't see why there's a problem with taking them down and letting us get our information, because nobody's using it. And if they are being used, then let us do it in the evening, on the weekend, and get that information that we need so that we have accurate information. And again, this involves insurance. If something hits one of the buildings, we don't know what's in there to tell the insurance company how much our claim is for.
Now, oftentimes when a server's purchased, it's usually through the IR contract or through different vendors. They're usually purchased as servers, and then you add additional resources. But in this case, did we go out to bid for these servers that cost over $100,000?
No, we did not, because they were under that. However, now, if we don't have access, I can't confirm anything on that either.
Okay, all right.
As,
Well, I'm not,
I understand, but you made an assumption that it's inaccurate.
I'm not, I did not call on you. Take a seat, sir. I'm talking to the auditor right now. I'll call on you in a minute, but please let me finish my questioning to Ms. Glazer. Just go ahead and sit down, Mr. Harris. I don't want you intimidating our witness here, so, please sit down, please.
I think this should.
Thank you.
I
don't.
Okay.
So we didn't, so normally, oftentimes when servers are purchased, in your experience, that they are bought at a unit level and then additions are made.
I have seen them purchased in a unit on DIR, and the invoices would include the chassis, all the serial numbers for everything that was put in there.
Okay.
And then once you get it, you can add more to it or take stuff out of it.
Okay, and you've had experience doing this before and know how this is normally procured, is that correct?
I have not had experience purchasing these. These are
I'm saying servers in general.
not
Okay.
servers in
All right,
general,
thank you.
no.
All right, thank you. All right, that's helpful. And then along the same line item, you're not trying to physically tag a cable, is that correct?
No, and I won't physically tag every one of
The units?
the RAMs inside the servers, but we do need the serial numbers off of those so that we can say, okay, this serial number is in unit number 1 and it ties to invoice number 1 and number 2 is on number 1 and so forth, so that we know how much each server is worth, so that when we get done, we can say there's 3 or 4 servers in 127 Jackson, and that's the dollar amount, and that's what the insurance will be made for.
Okay. and
Does that
then-
make sense?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, you've never asked to put a physical tag on each little 6.5 or 10-inch piece of
No,
property.
and
What you're trying to do is there's a unit, a rack or a unit, and you want to make sure that you have 2 responsibilities under state law. You have to have the unique ID number, right?
Mhm.
And then you have to see it physically in place. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have to see that that's.
Because if we are audited, when the external auditors come in, they do an internal control audit, and they will pull high dollar amount purchases and say, show me this, that, and the other. And if they want to see server number 1, they're going to say, okay, you said this was in here. And if that's not in there, they're going to say, well, your asset isn't recorded correctly.
Okay.
If there's more or if there's less in there.
All right, any other questions, commissioners?
Not for Kelly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, so I appreciate you guys for bearing with this conversation. The request was emphatically to tag hard drives. We came to the conclusion that the serial number that was a part of the invoice, attaching that to a tag, not necessarily physical tag, would be sufficient for providing the auditor with what she needed. We also came to a conclusion in our conversation and in our meetings that providing what was in the machine would provide her with the information that she needed, not necessarily what particular serial number is in the machine, but what are the volumes, the how many drives, how much memory, because it's all equated to a dollar value. It has nothing to do with the actual serial number being in a particular box, right?
But on that note, can you tell her which ones are in there?
I have to stop the machine and take out the memories and the network cards to pull out that information. And to the point of whether it's in production or not, it is in phase 1 of testing. So the machines are being used and we are very close. Once the fiber has been completed, we will have VPN access to departmental data throughout the county. These are some of the things that we provided to the auditor in the effort of trying to help by going to all the vendors, and that includes every purchase within the county prior to me arriving, right? Just to try to ensure that there was a handle. In the SQL report, one of the main controls that they cited that we did not have in place was the quality of access tagging or access control management software. And so, yes, there is a gap, but it's not going to be something that, with the resources we have and the amount of data that's out there that needs to be captured from what we can tell, not understanding the full scope of what the auditor is trying to complete, because we've not been provided that information. I can't tell you how long this is going to take, but to shut down our department, which I know that these are problems that exist throughout the county, and to single out this department, I think is unreal. I don't understand for the work that we've been able to complete and the success that we've had to put us on pause to go through this scenario, which no one else is going through. I would just ask the commissioners to consider this approach. We have been diligent. We have worked countless hours to try to bring the county into perspective from a security perspective and from a performance perspective. I think you can see the differences that since, I've been afforded the opportunity to be the director of technology of what we've been able to accomplish. There is no spirit in our office to not work with anyone. And I think you can talk to the department heads, and I know a lot of the commissioners and understand that our spirit has always been a handout. Well, how can we help? But this is not an accurate statement or characterization of the department and how we've been able to handle this and work with the auditor. I appreciate our direct report, Commissioner Carter, as he's been involved in ensuring that we get these things done and working with the auditor on scheduling and things of that nature. So we are working toward an integrated approach, which will be process intensive. And integration meaning systems, from an HR system to access management system to our ticketing system. And so now that data will flow, and we would have reports that can be run at any point that will be able to point out any of these things that are being requested. But right now, this is a manual process for us. So that you can have this document as well. You can see the controls on the back of this document that indicates from the analysis done from the consulting firm of the problems and the gaps that we have in our access management controls.
But moving forward, as you build these, can you write down what you put in them or no?
Yes. Once again, it was not a request. It was not a process. It was not anything given to us when we started working on all of these systems, right? So yes, when we have a process that we can follow, then that becomes a process.
But right now, the problem is just being able to get the serial number on that drive or that hard drive.
In a particular box.
Yeah.
Because some of them have not been installed because we're not done configuring the system to say that is serial numbers in a box. And the ones that are currently up are being used as a test pilot to ensure that the system works properly, so we can't take those down. The more we take down an enterprise level NAS system, the more risk that we associate with drives not working properly and burning out, because it's not designed to be taken up and down. It's designed to stay up.
And the ones in the box, you can just take those out and get the information you need, and then.
Yeah, so there are approaches in the industry that allow you to tag, to do tagging on boxes. And that is in a temporary tag, and then once it's pulled out, it becomes a internal control tag that we associate with. And what we're saying is that these are opportunities for us to make our process better and to be able to concur with any recommendations from the auditor's office by satisfying those requests. Because what you run a risk of is, if we have the auditor's office taking things out of boxes, we receive the item, we can't say that that item wasn't damaged, right? So the fact is that all items are really shipped to the auditor's office, and we're asked as a department to come get them. And we go down and get those items. The problem we've had in the past is that we were not always in the old building, which we vacated. So everything went over here because we knew someone would be there to receive those items. Since we moved in 127, we have a sign on the window because Development Services is not downstairs, so that door is locked. And so sometimes, we can't get those items. We still allow those items to be shipped to the auditor's office or to 220 Pierce, which we get a call from Ms. Connie saying, hey, you got items here. Because in the past, that has been the shipping address that vendors have been given. And so they still have that as the address to ship to. So that's why sometimes it goes to the courthouse versus the auditor's office.
In the end, are these two departments going to be compatible? I mean, can you work with the auditor's office?
Absolutely. And I think we've shown that in making ourselves available.
Okay, well, Madam Auditor, can you work with the IT department to develop a policy if that's what it takes? I realize you're working under, that's the part of it, whether absent county policy or not, we still have to comply with state statute. And so that's what she's working under. Yeah. Somehow or another, we've got to track things.
Understood.
And if that's what this whole agenda item appears to be tied to, is tracking. So somehow or another, we've got to fix that. And we can sit here and argue it to the ends of the earth of who cooperated with who or who didn't provide what. But from this point moving forward, are we going to be able to accomplish that?
From the technology department perspective and as a director, I am committed to this process. I just think we have to have a process in order for us to move forward to ensure that not only from a technology perspective, but for other departments that are making purchases over $500 have a process that they can follow to ensure that the county resources are taggable if necessary, but trackable if necessary.
Okay.
Well, collaboration to get a process with both departments working and get a better process or a more streamlined process. And it's going to take some time. And I think that's where we're failing to realize is you have to wait until some of these phases are complete. IT is doing a lot of work and there's a lot of different projects all going on at the same exact time that have to, and it all depends on in the fiber business, server, communication, whatever business. I used to teach my guys all the time, kind of get off topic. It's all a procedure or method you have to go by. If you skip a step, at the very end, you're redoing the whole project. So, and you're not having a complete project until the very end. There's little pieces you can do, little milestones, but you're not having a completion until it's done. And then you can go back and inventory or check or quantify what all you did, what all you had. I think that's just I think that's what we're missing, and that communication part of it is, want it right now versus give us some time to let some of these processes work out and these phases get finished. And then we'll have that info.
And we'd also just like to have, generally when you're in an auditing perspective, there's a scope. So if we don't know what the scope is, it just kind of keeps snowballing to more and more requests, right? Once again, we started with a request for insurance purposes of the data center, and then that followed up with other emails asking for more and more information for PO reconciliations of things all the way back to 2024. And once again, just understanding the scope of what we're trying to complete will provide some context to help us provide input into what the process, how this process can work from a IT perspective.
Okay, right now we have $259,000 worth of assets that aren't tagged. And my time is running out because September 30th, I have to have everything tagged and tracked in the system for closing out the books. So we only have a couple of months. And here, come what in July, we're gonna send out that letter that y'all love that say, hey, y'all wanna buy stuff, get it in, because you have to get it in by September 30th. And so we're gonna be busy doing that, plus the budget. We need to get these assets tagged, one way or another, at this point.
Well, can we do temporary tags while they're still in the box or while, to go from a PO that has a serial number?
That's an internal control weakness, because when you get a shipment from a vendor and then you don't open it for a month, and then we've made the payment on it, and then you open it up and it's not what you expected it to be, you can't send it back saying, oh, this was the wrong thing. They're gonna say, but you had it for a month and you didn't open it. So what is supposed to happen in the internal control process is when something comes in, it gets tagged prior to payment being made. And so we need that process to happen, not wait until some point in the future to get these assets tagged.
With some of this, could y'all open it together as a team and then tag it, and then you can put it back in the box and do your thing after, whenever your crew gets to it or whatever? If you're behind and it sits for a month or whatever the reason is, y'all have looked at it, she's tagged it, and then it's now yours to protect or whatever.
I think that there is.
That's one of the issues.
Collaboration, there are collaboration points that we should look at the best scenario of what that process is that meets any legal obligations and also removes any risk of us not having items warranted. And I do want to state that anytime we buy items, it is warranted. So we're not under the statutes of a month or 2 months. It is a warranted item because it's an enterprise item. But there are ways to get around having to open the box. It just has to be something you agree to. Temporary tagging is one of them. And then it becomes a full tag item. I mean, there's just different ways to handle this scenario. But once again, 100% willing to collaborate and work on the process moving forward. It just has not existed in the past.
Okay, but you're willing to work with the auditor's office
100%.
to fix this $259,000 issue we've got right now so that she can close her books out and
That 200, yes, sir, a short answer. And most of that will be the hard drives that are in the systems. So it's not a big lift. It is how we acquire the data, right? And most of those hard drives are in the system. And the ones that are not, we can look at those and verify them by serial numbers. And we can also use the invoice in which we sign to say that they have been received, to also associate serial numbers with tags as well. So there's a way to move forward, and this shouldn't take a huge amount of time. No, sir.
Okay. As long as we can do it in a timely fashion, we can keep her in compliance.
For insurance purposes, what we were given was a list on an Excel spreadsheet with serial numbers and dollar amounts. That does not tell the auditor's office where those assets are and where they need to be insured, which building.
And you need to physically see them.
I
at
need to
some point, or
physically
your
see them
staff.
too.
Okay, because that is the law.
Not here's a list and then there's gerbils in the server and the hard drives are gone. I need to physically see them and see that server number 1 has 20 hard drives or whatever.
So between now and then, number 1, start working on a policy, I suppose. Number 2, have a checklist of what needs to be compliant and a drop dead date for that.
Can I ask her that question? Do we need a policy? We already have a policy that has receivables in it, do we not?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we already have a policy that if you get something, that if you get your boom axe, you got to report it to sign the thing, confirm the policy number and send it to the auditor. That's state law as well as good.
That's what we're saying. The process is important. We're following those procedures.
Are they?
We wouldn't be $259,000 off if we were following the procedure.
And one other issue I want to bring back up is the there was a comment made that you've been trying to go back and get assets from 2, 3, 4 years ago. Is that correct?
No, what we started was in December, we were like, hey, well, I have to back up because back last year in March, we were buying pretty much laptops and towers. And then when Greg came in, we started buying infrastructure. When that happened, the IT department was given tags for the computers and the laptops. And they were tagging them and they would send them over. So
The documents is
they would
tag
they
an
have
asset
a
and send
form and they'd fill it out and it'd have the serial number and the asset and where it went, and we would put it in our system.
Okay.
Well, come what, August, September, October, when we started buying this stuff, we were like, oh, hey, what about this? And that's when, in December, we were like, hey, we really need to get on tagging this stuff. And then it continued on for several months where we didn't get that information from IT. And then later we were told, oh, we thought you just wanted the laptops and towers. We didn't want everything tagged.
But just setting aside that
Yeah.
in just a minute, the policy for everybody, if the sheriff gets a new car,
Yes.
if so-and-so, somebody gets a boom act, there's a receivable process that you have to go through. And we
Yes.
already have that as policy and
Yes.
practice that
And
we've
we
had for
practice it.
years. Whenever something that is $500 more or more in value comes in, there has to be a receivable executed, and then that informs where the auditor, the serial number, the location of that value.
Yes.
And so this is happening all over the county.
Yes,
all the
and
time.
because I live in Bertram, I've been tagging library items recently because they've been buying some equipment. And it's cheaper for me to drive there. So, yeah, but we do this to all the assets.
All
Cars, everything. Everything has an asset tag. And if you look
So-
around your desk, you'll see them.
I'd say we move forward. You'll try to work it out within the next 10 days, and if we need to revisit this item, we will at the next commissioners court.
Well, and you say work it out. Does that mean me make an appointment and I come over and we start tagging the
I don't know
the
how y'all
boxes?
need to work, y'all work together to get the serial numbers or whatever information is that you need to alleviate the issue that you have with the inventory.
Okay.
It seems pretty simple to me that if a box comes in, you open it up and you inventory right there and put the tag on it. I guess there's some stored boxes somewhere that have not been opened.
Yeah, they're in 127 Jackson.
They're in a secure location, but anything we get in, we open it up and verify the
We-
contents
Right.
and then.
You sign the paper
move
saying, hey,
on.
pay for this. Yeah.
So I would say that y'all work together to try to figure out a solution on the problem. And then
To finish what I was saying a second ago, no, you're fine. Can you come up with a drop dead date that you need the information? Because if he's got some servers that he can't turn off yet, then somewhere between here and there, he can figure out how to turn them off and get what you need by the drop dead date.
Well, and I have been available. I need to know what time and place I need to be, and we'll be there.
So for insurance and statute requirements for you and then for your stuff. So I would say that it sounds like at every court, until you're satisfied, we need an update on this, how this is going.
Okay.
Until that gets done for insurance and statute, to make sure that we're following that. At least something,
Thank you.
right? Start moving the needle.
Yeah, update sound good.
Yeah, something. Because if we get to the, where you said you got to return your report in, we need to know. Oh, you need to know.
Okay, so
Is that good?
you're going to pass
Yeah,
on
by
this
that
item?
time, we should be further along.
There's no motion on this agenda item?
I mean, do you need to make that official? You mean to deem that as an?
Well, I
order?
mean, this is, what's being asked for by the county auditor on working on behalf of the district judges, that the information technology department be immediately and all times permitted to have access to place inventory tags on county-owned assets. That was the request of a county auditor. There are other operations at her disposal, but she's asking the Commissioners Court to direct the IT department to immediately and all times make the equipment available to the county auditor. So I'm just making sure you're wanting to pass and not take any action on this item.
I mean, my inclination is let, over the next 2 weeks, you guys get together. And then if we get to the next court and the needle hasn't moved, and then we need to deem then we can. But then I would also say that in my hearing some back and forth, I think you two need to communicate directly and no more through staff of, all that stuff. Until this is solved, you guys work together directly. Does that make sense? Do you see any action needed today, or can we see what happens over the next 2 weeks? Yeah.
Okay.
And then if the needle's not moving or we're still whatever, then we'll start managing.
Okay, is there any objection to not taking this action item? Okay. All right, I call agenda item number 25, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to modify a contract that the Burnett County Commissioners Court entered into on March 8th. Excuse me, seem to be missing a tab. Excuse me. Into March 8th, 2026 for free voice over IP trial with Vested Networks for Burnett County Information Technology Department office phones in an amount not to exceed the 100 one-time documentation fee and $99 monthly recurring charge. Commissioner Collier?
That was the Best Networks pilot program that IT was working through or using. Now they've verified that it will work. It's what they need. So, and it's pretty straightforward.
Was it not a one-year trial that came to this Commissioners Court a few weeks ago? Was it a one-year? I thought what we approved was a one-year trial basis. Is that not correct?
No, it was a month.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
30 days. Trial. Pilot program.
It does say trail.
This little type.
So,
You're earning it today, V.
Anyway, this will save, eventually, when all the departments will eventually start moving over to this network for their telephone. It's kind of implemented one phase at a time. Every department, I think, will get a pilot, correct?
Well, the goal is that I've received communications from the Sheriff's Department, and they are having extreme issues with their phones. And I'll let them, bring that to the court. But because the sheriff office is such a different beast, and we want to ensure that all of the attributes of the current system works with the new system, for example, integrating with 911 services and things of that nature, we would want that to be a pilot because that would give us implementation time to ensure that there is no problem. As far as any other department, we've received various requests from departments about needing to get off the current phone system that they have, the library being one that is having a problem out in Bertram. They wouldn't need to have a pilot phase because it would just be a replacement. The current situation with the phones is that we have a antiquated system that was yielded out of France. And so the support of the system is very lacking. And anytime there is any type of movement within the county, it's an extended cost for us because we have to have those sources on site as we're integrating into the new infrastructure. So that's one of the main proponents for this decision to go with a pilot with Vested to ensure that voice over IP would work and works according to the requirements of the county.
So moving forward, this will be a cost savings as well.
So we were able to run the numbers, and Currently, if we were to incorporate this solution throughout the county, we would save the county north of 90 grand a year.
So if this is approved, this $99 a month is, you've got that in your utilities, it's budgeted for?
Well, currently, those funds are allocated out of a budget, and we would just remove those funds from Frontier to that budget to vest it to that same budget. So it would be the same line item, just cheaper.
And unfortunately, that's not the way it works because we have classes of lines. It's like 500 to, and that's why Cindy brought this up, is that, it's like 500 to 600, 700 to 800. So there'll be no cost savings approving this because we, and I
Over
don't.
time, as we get
Okay, I
away
understand,
from
but I'm just saying
Frontier,
that
yeah.
this is what's in front of us today. So what physical phones are being used? Is that in here? I don't see. Are we gonna have to buy phones in addition to this, or are we using phones that are?
The phones are part of this cost.
Okay.
So it's associated with the cost, and this is only for the technology department, and these phones are in place.
So what's the duration of this contract, I guess?
They warned these prices for 60 months.
If we keep it a year and then you decide it's not good and they go back, is there like a fee for the phones or anything?
No, you lose the phones, and you also lose their service.
Oh, they just take them back?
Well, as a county, any other questions? Any other public comment for this agenda item? Okay, I close public comment. All right.
Eddie, have y'all read this contract?
Okay.
Looks to me it's pretty simple, it's just like.
No, it is. I'm just always worried about the out clause, if we needed it. That seems to be when they get you. Hopefully we don't.
I think going through the pilot program, you pretty much know if you like it or not.
That's true. It's worked good.
It has. I'll move to approve, moving the IT over to Vista Networks for the phone service.
Okay, Commissioner Collier has moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner Byerly, any further discussion?
I guess just the other point, I know I've had offline conversations with Chief. You guys are looking at what they're doing to maybe move the sheriff's office in that direction as well? Not to put you on the spot, right?
Alan Trevino, Chief Deputy, Barnett County. We have to do something. We have a significant phone failure both at the jail and at the sheriff's office. Anytime it rains, our phones go down, period. And it can be for a matter of a couple of days. We've had to operate under circumstances where we actually are using 911 with certain vendors that we, record drivers, because of the amount of times that we have to call. We can't call out at our own desk repetitively. You dial out for an outside line, and you have to hit redial 3 or 4 times before you will actually get a line that's serviceable. And this is throughout the county, throughout the sheriff's office. So dispatches can imagine how many phone calls they're having to make, having to go through this process every time. So it is a significant issue and has been for a long time. Anytime it rains, we send a ticket And when the response is 2 or 3 days, and whenever they get here, it's quit raining, and so we have lines again. And
That's
so
the Frontier?
that's with Frontier, yes, sir. So I've got a list of issues that we have recognized at the sheriff's office, a list of issues that we recognize at the jail. When phone systems go down there, we actually have to operate outside of the jail as a booking procedure.
Okay, thank you. And
It's just that plain old telephone system.
And so for that reason, I'd really rather pass on this agenda. We have a motion and a second, but I want to make clear that I think to the chief's point is we need a system-wide evaluation. We're doing all this work on planning for buildings and other systems, and it seems to be kind of short-sighted to bite off a small contract like this when we really have serious needs that he's just raised, that we need to look at a comprehensive plan for the county and address it on the countywide basis. So I'll be recommending no on this one.
Are you, Mr. Harris? You're aware of the problems that they're having with the old copper cabling system?
I'm sorry?
Are you aware of the problems they're having with the old copper cabling system?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And this is one of the reasons why this is something we piloted, because it will remove our dependency on the old copper wiring that's currently in the county. Right. And so if we have movement within a county, this phone system will allow movement without any reconfigurations of phones or anything else. That person would be tied to that phone. And if there's any problems for connectivity issues that might occur, say someone cut our lines or what have you, we as a county still will have access as we were on our phones through our cell phone if we so desire.
So could you qualify this, and I may be extrapolating this too far, but could you qualify this then as beta testing for all of the other departments that are still on copper?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because in a new building, like you're in a new building, so if like to Commissioner's point, a beta test for where we might go one day, but if we don't do this, then you'll have to get copper ran for regular phones.
We will have to take the old system. We would continue to have the outages that we have. Right. And then we would also have to take the old system and try to make it work with any configuration changes that we might have, which was one of the huge hindrance when they tried to do the switch refresh project in the beginning. It was more the phone system not cooperating, which is why I had to have a rollback prior to my coming to the county.
And as we get other departments in, they'll incorporate into this
Correct.
price, as far as price wise goes.
Correct. And so currently what we have is if there is a phone line request and it's, say, for example, over by the sheriff department, that's a different vendor, right? And with those vendors come a proprietary switch, which ties us to that vendor. And so if we want one in Marble Falls, then that's another vendor. And so therefore we are tying ourselves into utilizing proprietary switches for those vendors, which in this realm, we would be using the switches that we have put in place for the county. Any more questions?
So again, I really think we should vote against this. I think we should vote against this because it's, I think getting into one vendor before we've had time to fully vet out all the issues and consider, starting to lock into one vendor before we really know what our options are. I think it's just really short-sighted given all the other planning and working that we're doing for so many other areas. Phone systems are critical to emergency response and other, and I really think that we should, go out and either go out for a bid or get some expert help on this and select a system that's going to be over in our long-term best interest. There's lots of companies that I've worked with all over the state that do this service really well. And we're starting to lock into a vendor before we even know what all the options are.
I don't know if we're locking into a vendor. We're trying the voice over IP profile. I don't think we're locking into a
We've got an
vendor.
expert has stated numerous times on staff.
Okay.
I think he's probably the foremost expert you're gonna find.
Okay.
But if we try this and it works, then then, as you say, we do a full analysis of converting the entire county over to voice over IP and like do requests for proposals countywide. We don't have to be tied to one vendor, but we need to know it's going to work before we do that. I would be my humble opinion.
All right. It's been moved and seconded moved by Commissioner Collier, seconded by Commissioner Byerly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. No. So motion passes. I think we should take about a 5-minute break. Time is now 11:47, and then we'll get back in about 5 minutes. Denise and Bev that come up here from Spice. I guess they decided they stepped out of the meeting. Spice, principal Spice. Okay. Anyway, they were here to say something about the Spicewood Library issue.
Memorandum of understanding with Francis Spicer.
All right.
Well, she said she actually left her phone in the car, that's why she didn't get the message they were. They don't actually have it has.
accepting or rejecting proposals received, rebid number 265120-01 for the jail fire panel upgrade in an amount not to exceed $548,865 from Fund 72451205300. Chief
Chief Trevino, Barnett County Sheriff's Office. We are in favor of accepting the COSAR $325,000 bid.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Chief.
I'd move to award the quoted bid to COSAR in the amount of $325,000.
All right. Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Dockery, seconded by Commissioner Luther. Is there any further discussion? I've already called public comment in the past. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Okay, this is, I now call agenda item number 26. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action concerning adopting the following proposed policies: Burnett County Technology Standards and Product Governance Policy, and Burnett County Technology Security and Compliance Standards Policy. Commissioner Collier.
This is just I'm not even sure we had a policy in place, but to have it's basically the do's and don'ts, what you can't do with our IT. If there's any more questions, Greg, you can definitely answer them.
Has this been reviewed by council?
We're in the process of reviewing it, but I don't, to me, it's premature to handle this right now, but we're not done.
You didn't get it? All right.
Okay. So can it wait till next court?
I think it can wait.
It can wait.
Mr.
Do I need to ask any
Arnoldo.
questions?
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'd say get with Eddie or let them review it before. That would be great.
All right, so pass, any objections to pass? I'm not passing, but skipping this item today? Okay. All right. I call agenda item number 27. The Burnett County Commissioners Court will convene an executive session pursuant to Section 551-076 Texas Government Code, allowing for the deliberation on the procurement process for cybersecurity software and support services for the Technology Department. The attendees for this executive session will be the Commissioners Court member, the County Attorney's Office, the County Attorney, and then Special Counsel Philip Arnold. And then I may call one other person after we get underway. The time is now 11:56, and we'll be in executive session about 20 minutes. Best guess. Hopefully shorter. Yes. Yes, I said County Auditor Kelly Glazer. Okay, the time is now 11:34. Guess it just switched to 11:35. I'm sorry, 12:34. Came back in, reconvene the open session. Call agenda item number 29, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the selection of a quote for cybersecurity software and support services for the technology department in the amount not to exceed $12,650, subject to the Burnett County purchasing regulations.
That's basically, we're just gonna pass on that one.
Yes, sir. If that's okay for the next,
Really, we can pass on the next two.
yes, sir, 20, 29 and 30. Is there an objection to passing on 29 or 30? I mean, when I say pass on, skip it, those two? Commissioner Collier and Auditor Glazer and Mr. Harris will work together to bring that back at a later date. Okay, I call agenda item number 31, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the use of funds that were previously authorized in Commissioners Court on January 27, 2026. Account 710-5040-5770. The use funds designated for the veneer at 109 East Jackson building facade to purchase a generator and associated electrical work to make the generator operational. Use funds designated for the fiber optic cable to fund the City of Burnett costs for electrical pole make ready and associated electrical work required. And use funds designated for the fiber optic cable to fund the various building entrances to make ready to be done by the facilities maintenance department.
We have an incorrect
It should
address
be-
in there?
Yeah,
Right. and
127 East Jackson.
So it was 127 East Jackson. Mr. Arnold, what do we do about that?
My recommendation, Commissioners, would be to pass on this. Just, the question is whether the incorrect address gives the public notice of what you're talking about. I think that this address is significant. If it was West Jackson versus East Jackson, maybe that's a little closer call, but up to you. My recommendation would be to pass on the agenda item and just fix the address and come back to it.
Do we,
Well, can we still just pass on A and go for B and C?
yeah, because they're not tied to
They're not tied to the building?
But I think the only defect appears to be to this building, so is if B and C relate to that address, or I don't know if the address is.
Yeah, they do.
They do in a way, but not in,
Well,
it's a fiber running from that building to the sheriff's department and to the library. That's actually a fiber.
So
The fiber installation project, that's technically, it's out of that fund, but it's not really tied to that building. And that work won't be tied to that building. It's gonna be tied to the City of Burnett electric poles and to the other buildings that it's attaching to, like the library, sheriff's office.
Then I think probably B and C would be okay, as long as it's not, the question is the public, has the public been given sufficient notice to know what you're talking about, right? To read it on your website, to read it on the courthouse steps, to come here today and then only to make a public comment about it. We're here to discuss it. So if you think B and C is sufficient to do that, then I think that's sufficient. A with the incorrect address is, probably not sufficient. I don't know. There may not be anyone who knows what that address is, but that would be my recommendation, at least on A to pass.
And I would ask commissioners that you consider skipping this item, because even on C, I met with Richard Gumbert earlier this week to find out what it was involved for that. And he said, I have no idea what this is about and what I need, why this would be on the agenda. So they've already finished all.
He knows it's gonna take, there's coming into the buildings, getting conduit, whatnot.
Right.
Any power, whatnot in those buildings. He is aware of it.
Okay.
And, we're trying to get this project started. And we're gonna need this to go as seamlessly as possible. And really can't afford at this time to pass on it. It's not any extra funding. It's basically to curtail or try to curb some of the wording we had in that document that said fiber optic cable. Now, basically, it's the same monies. We had it figured into that job, this make ready. That's why it was 500 and the bid came in at 225 or something. So we had this built in.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I wanted the wording to state, all right, City of Burnett's gonna require some money to make their electric poles, to move their power up and down.
Okay.
And then also to fund the maintenance department, because they don't have it in their budget, to buy materials and time to make these, to get us outside the building to inside the conference. And it's all the same money. There's no ad, there's nothing to it. It's basically a wording issue, because I don't want to get caught up with, well, it wasn't on the line. It was strictly fiber cable, and this will encompass the electric and the make ready work.
Okay.
And if it's all right with council, we can see if you don't see a problem then.
I mean, a way to look at this, you just took a Sharpie and you scratched through 109 East Jackson, with the rest of it makes, or if you just Sharpie through A, let's say altogether, if that would make sense with the
Yeah, that would.
notice, then I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, if you took A completely out, you wouldn't know if that was going to 129 or 127 East
And it
Jackson.
specifically does have the account number in it.
Yeah, and the account number is right.
Then I don't see an issue with that. The only typo is the address, right? So if we just delete the address altogether and the rest of it makes sense, and that puts people on notice, then that puts people on notice.
Okay. Ms. Glazer?
Kelly Glazer, purchasing agent and auditor. With this agenda item, I'm unable to certify the funds issuing purchase orders on this because the proposed project as currently presented on 31, it needs a maximum amount authorized for each A, B, and C allocated that money. As presented, this item does not identify specific equipment, services, quantities, project costs, or not to exceed amounts. Without that information, I can't determine whether the purchase requires competitive bidding, cooperative purchases, or another purchasing method authorized by the law and county policy.
Well, one of them, like City of Barnett, only the City of Barnett can touch their poles. So
If it doesn't have an amount, that's what she's saying.
It doesn't have an amount. It doesn't tell me that we're doing City of Burnett for $20,000 or $150,000 and then leaves C without an amount. And with that, it also, on C, I think you have various buildings. That doesn't say which buildings and how much each one costs. I need the specifics so that I know what the Commissioners Court is agreeing to. And to make sure that we comply with Local Government Code 262.
Sounds like it's coming back. Okay. Okay.
With quotes and bids.
Oh, well.
And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Building keeps on giving.
Okay. Skip, any objection to Skip? Okay. I call agenda item number 32, acknowledgement of receipts, PEC utility connections for May and June, TAS inspection transmittal, no violations for the Burnett County Jail, visitation renovations. Congratulations, Chief. Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between Burnett County Sheriff's Office and Burnett County Constable 4, related to the PIO issue under new state law. Public Utility Commission of Commission's staff notice for town hall meeting. Auditor's office receipt of Burnett County Emergency Service District financial statements from ESD 1 and ESD 8. TCQ notice temporary debris management site closure. Texas Commission on Jail Standards inspection report, May 26, 27th. Again, congratulations for a positive report, Chief. Give the staff our regards. So, any other calendar review? Any comments for calendar review? Otherwise, I'll hear a motion to adjournment.
So moved.
Second. Byerly, seconded by Luther. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes.